about to get serious here!
There's no way you win against me now.
Alright everyone, JB here, and we're back with another Dragon Ball Z video on the channel today. Now today, I'm going to be taking a look at the top 10 units in the game, with a few honorable mentions, which we're going to do those at the later half of the video. Because, we got a couple new units for this anniversary. It's been about almost 2 weeks, and I wanted to wait a little bit longer compared to everyone else, that's releasing their tier list and everything. But yeah, as always, if you're new around here, consider leaving a like on the video and join the channel, because it's very much appreciated. Discord will be in the link down below in the description, so if you want to check that out, you want to join for it, like raid buddies, Shinron codes. Currently looking for new members, so do check it out. Now, like I mentioned, we have the top 10 right here, and then at the bottom slot we're going to do the honorable mentions pretty much towards the later half of the video, towards the end. But when we look at the top 2, top 3, it's obvious, you guys want to see the newer units. Look at number 1. We're basing these off of the meta and teams, and not just just single individual wise, because yeah, there's units that can do that, but we're not basing this tier list off of that. Currently right now, that is where the top 3 is for me. Now when you look at both, let's say Vegito and Gogeta, they're very close. There's not one where I could say that, well, this one is obviously way better than the other, while the other one still has equally as much to offer in their kit. Now when we're looking at kit wise compared between the two, I feel that Vegito has the better kit, a more well rounded kit and all the good stuff. And even before they even fuse, pre-fusion, I think Vegeta and Goku are a bit better than Goku Blue and Vegeta Blue. But the thing is, it's so close because you can equally put them on the same teams together, and then when you look at the meta with the coloring, the reason why Gohan is right here, because we're going to talk about Gohan in a minute, but while we're talking about these two, is one big difference for me mainly, and the same thing probably for the majority of people, is the mechanics. Now, as we know, Vegito, when you rush with him, he pretty much has the mechanic to give you a guaranteed kill, and the guaranteed kill on a rising rush is awesome, because normally, you would have to guess between you and your opponent, but with Vegito, it's a guaranteed kill, and it nullifies endurance, which can come in handy when you go on your, let's say Gohan, you rush him, you have Frieza. But the thing is with Frieza, he has that combat ability, so he's the only one that you can't really just, kill, unless you've already taken away his first life. And then you have Gogeta. This guy, the only issue that I feel like a lot of people would probably have, same thing for me, is when you're using his chained, when you chain the strike cards, his chained actions and all that stuff, the issue is you're not drawing any cards, right? You can't sidestep, so it's literally it's the same kind of animation over and over, so you can't sidestep, you can't draw any other cards, no strikes, no green, no blues. So essentially, let's say you start that chain with 3 cards, you're not drawing any cards, your hand is going to be empty, and that's putting yourself in a way worse situation, especially if you don't have any vanish or anything, or you can't tag out. So that's the biggest issue that I really feel like I have compared between the two. But when it comes to offensively wise and just like color wise, I think Gogeta is gonna age way better than Vegito, simply because he's yellow. And then we got all these different purples, in the meta, and it's just, I feel like Gogeta is gonna age just a little bit better. Vegito is just because of his coloring, depending on what we get. So I can't say so far right now, but depending on what we get towards, like part 2, part 3, it looks as, yeah, for right now, he's gonna age a bit better, but right now, Vegito has the better kit, and he just fits on some teams just better, When it comes to different teams, you got Sun Fam, you got Fusions, or Fusion Warrior, whichever you want to call it. You got Saiyans. You even got Vegeta Clan. And Vegeta Clan is definitely got a couple upgrades now. So yeah, they're looking pretty good. Now moving on to the number 2 unit. I want to go over the 2 new units because I know majority of people want to know where would I place them. And overall, they're like I said, they're together in that top 5. So any unit that's even on the top 10 is still considerably good, right? Now looking at the number 2 unit, Ultra Gohan. This guy has been a pain in the butt for me to really just play against, simply because obviously he's a green unit, and then he can also, like, just one blue card or one ult to Vegito, even at high stars, you know, unless it's like, it doesn't matter. Mine is at, I think, 12 or 13 stars. So yeah, the guy is it's annoying because he can pretty much just one-shot you. And that's not even talked about all the different mechanics he has, especially in his kit. When it comes to individual wise, he has the better value, I think, compared to both of these guys. Team wise, his main core teams that you're going to see him on a lot is either Hybrids or Sun Fam. And I feel like Hybrids is the only team that I feel like he is the number 1 option you're going to have on that team. Sun Fam, yeah, you could put him on the number 1 option, but guess what? You have these 2 right here. And there's some other options. You know, UI is also on this list, like I mentioned. Bardock and Goku, they're also on here. You got the Red Beast Gohan. And then beside his teams, the different mechanics that he brings, like, bro, countering strike cards or any strike-based art, mainly meaning, you know, any strike-based blues, green cards, that's all getting counted. And then he can also counter you with his blue card. So there's that. And then he also has endurance, and that's also that. And he can also destroy your blast armor on blast cards. So yeah, when it comes to individual wise in his kit, he can easily 1v3 you. And I believe if he's the last man standing, he also draws another ultimate card. So yeah, that's why he's still in that top 3 for me. It is arguable because when you look at some of these, I've seen some people drop Gogeta down to the 4 and 5 spot, and personally speaking, I wouldn't mind that. You know, he's still in the top 5. I think it's just most people have him put there because if you don't have Gogeta, who's going to be your other options? You know, as a yellow unit, you got Baby, you got UI, and UI is probably a little bit more valuable with him giving you like a guaranteed kill, with him locking you in and everything in certain situations. So there's that, right? But moving on to the number 4 and 5 spot. Now at number 4, I'm gonna put Golden Frieza, and then at the number 5, I think I'm gonna give that to UI. Sorry about that, guys. Had to burp. But yeah, I'm gonna give that to UI, and but actually, yeah, you can possibly, yeah, let's do this. We're gonna switch this. So I'm gonna put UI. We're gonna switch it. You know, we're gonna put all right. So sorry for the weird cut, guys. Your boy had to cough like a bunch. So like I was mentioning before it cut off, I have Frieza at the number 4 spot, 17 at the number 5 spot. So I'm gonna switch him out with UI. And the reason why I'm keeping the 17 in the number 5 spot, because you really can switch him out and put him at the lower end of the top 10. When you look at 17, obviously his color counters a lot of, you know, it counters Gogeta, counters UI, Baby. But besides that, you can put him on a PO team with Frieza, with Baby, because Baby's unique gauge is insane. It's actually insane. You can put him on the PO team. You can put him on GT. Isn't as relevant now, but it's still a solid team if you have the right pieces in, you know, in that top 3 of what you're going to use. But arguably speaking, you know, you could drop him. So I might do that. You could drop him simply because you don't see him a lot. And then when you put UI right here, so these two, you know, we're gonna keep it as they're interchangeable. They can be switched out between the places and everything. So, you know, with these two, we can switch those out. You know, when you look at let's say Golden Frieza, right? Golden Frieza, obviously, he's just a juiced up unit. You put some Zenkai buffs on this guy. You put him on. You can either put him on starters from the movies. You can put him on the PO team. You can also put, I believe, you can put him on Frieza Force. I believe, right? You can put him on Frieza Force with let's say Revival, Nappa, and Vegeta right there. It's insane. And the thing is, right, how valuable the combat ability is, where you basically get a second life and you're not able to die, right? It's not endurance. Something similar to what Goku and Bardock has down here with their indestructible. So you got a guaranteed second life, and this guy draws green cards like insane. Just by himself, he draws green cards pretty often. So if you put him on a team where he's constantly drawing green cards, you're never gonna stop comboing. The guy combos and combos. That's something that's him and 17 I feel like has something in common. Except 17, you know, he's not getting card draw speed or anything like that off his green cards. But when you look at him, yeah, he's deserving to stay in that top 5 space right there. Like I mentioned with 17, you can put these two on the same team. You know, what else besides GT? Yeah, besides GT and let's say like PO, you really don't see. That's probably like the best core teams when it comes to 17. You know, Frieza has, you know, Frieza Force or Lineage of Evil, whichever one is called. Sliders from the movies, you throw that. You literally can throw him and Gogeta on the same team. You can throw Frieza in the leader slot if you want to. Throw Gogeta on that same team with him. You got a couple options as well. Let's say who else? When you look at sagas, we do have this new Broly who is pretty solid. That's why he's on this list. Beast, you don't see him a lot simply just because of this guy, Vegito, but he still can put in some work. It's just his core teams kind of suck because he only has 2 options, right? But yeah, enough yapping, right? But yeah, that's where I'm gonna place him in Super 17. We look at UI. I think he is, like I said, he has a guaranteed kill. He can counter your cover change, which is insane. What else does he have going for him? I believe he can I'm trying to remember, because UI, when it comes to him, when you look at it like just individual wise, I think he has a little bit more value than Gogeta. But it's just the team wise, right? Because his main teams that you're going to see him on is either Sun Fam or Universe Rep or Saiyans. You can also throw him on Saiyans. Do keep that in mind. You can throw him on Saiyans. I've seen him on Saiyans before. Ran with, let's say, like Goku and Bardock. You also have some other options down here. You got Nappa and Vegeta, but I don't think that would be I don't think that would be like just a really good team for you just to base off of. But you know, just an example. You got Saiyans, you got Sun Fam, and you got Universe Rep, which Universe Rep it's not as good as it used to be a couple months ago. But he has a guaranteed kill. His ult hits pretty hard. Obviously he can counter strike based cards or blues. Same thing what Ultra Gohan has going for him. And then when you do clashes, this guy it's a neutral thing. So you don't win or lose, but it's basically like a tie. So therefore, you don't have to worry about your enemy getting a priority on their you know, combos. But when you look at just UI, I think, like I said, these two are interchangeable. When you look at the meta, you got all these different yellows. 17 can come in for that, but you don't see 17 a lot because why? Because Vegito literally can one combo 17 or blue card him. That's how, like, a higher start of Vegito, yeah, he's one card in him. Same thing with Gohan down here. You know, it's just the way the meta is, right? But when you look at number 7, you could put, I'm gonna put these guys right here, Revival, Nappa, and Vegeta. And then at the number 8 spot, actually he's already right there. We're gonna leave Super Baby 2 right there. Now, as I mentioned, we look at, let's say, Nappa and Vegeta. When you put them on a core, let's say, Saiyan Saga team, Vegeta Clan team, they can be really good. Really good, right? And then they're purple. So the issue with that is, you know, it's like I mentioned, you got these different yellows. You got Gogeta to worry about. That's why he's way up here while Vegeta's down here. But if you throw him on, let's say, like a Saiyan team, you can throw him on a Saiyan team with both Vegito and Gogeta. That's possible. You can juice them up with some Zenkai buffers. Let's say, for example, also they're revival. So revival units have become a little bit more valuable, especially with this meta. Because if you throw them on, like, let's say, like a Saiyan team besides Saiyan Saga or Vegeta Clan, because you can also throw them on Vegeta Clan with these two right here if you want to, because that's doable, right? And the bench can be, let's say, like Fusion Warrior based, where you're Zenkai buffing all three of these guys. You got this guy, and honestly speaking, you know, as like I mentioned, Vegeta Clan has some pretty good units, especially if you have the right pieces. Saiyan Saga is still good, just not as good as I would say now, since they really didn't like go all out for that celebration. We kind of only got what, one LF and a couple Sparkins and some Zenkais. So if you look at he's definitely deserving to stay in that top 10 right there, because there's a couple of team options, and I feel like with them, if you don't have Frieza, he's definitely your option to go for purple. I feel like Frieza overall has the better combo, you know, with the combo potential, with the combat ability. And then him just drawing green cards is already insane. So yeah, but when you look at let's say Super Baby 2, now this guy, I feel like with him, thing is, his unique age is so good. You know, he's an overall just solid option. But if you don't have him, let's say on, because PO or Powerful Opponent, that's pretty much his main team. You throw him on GT, who you're gonna, like, the only person I really feel like you can pair him with is Super 17. And who else? Maybe Bomb Crew, but even Bomb Crew doesn't feel as great. You could say G4, but it's like I said, you know, G4 buffs what? Fusion Warrior. And then again, you know, even G4 has fallen a little bit on this list. He's not even, for me, he's not even in the honorable mentions. So when you look at Super Baby 2, he has a lot of things going for him, especially with his unique age. And what is his green card? He has a counter green card. Very usable, since you have a lot of melee based units, especially in the meta. And then what else that he has? A higher star baby can really put in some work. But I think, you know, keeping him at a number 8 spot is the good choice for me, since his main team, like I mentioned, is Powerful Opponent. You know, GT is also another option for him. You can even say Saiyans is another option for him, but it's just, when you look at Saiyans, he's not going to be your number 1 option, right? Because when you look at yellow units, you got these two right here. They're going to be the better options if you're going to run Saiyans over Super Baby. So PO is really just his main core team, where you can run him, Super 17, and even Ultra Frieza. So yeah, we're going to stand on that. So looking at the number 9 spot, I'm going to give that to Pikkon and Gogeta. Now their value has went up a whole bunch, mainly because they're a revival unit, yes, but before they even revive, they're constantly, you know, just getting a whole bunch of green cards. And there's 2 units that benefit from that, both Vegito and Gogeta. So, you know, that's a plus. And then, reasonably speaking, once you even revive, they become a solid offensive unit. So yeah, there's that. There's some other things. They do have some support, I believe, once you pop their unique gauge as well, before you transform and pop their revival. And then just them on Fusion Warriors. Besides Fusion Warriors, you can put them on Saiyans. That's kind of their 2 main teams, I would say. but you can also throw them on solids from the movies. So it's like I said, but they wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't be on a team necessarily saying with Ultra Frieza. You probably will opt more to have Gogeta and then them, and then probably, let's say, I don't know, you could probably have Beast Gohan because I believe he buffs Sunfam as well. So you could put these guys, you know, in the leader slot. But there's better options because like this Broly right here as well. You know, let's say if you don't have them, this Broly is as a good backup green unit you could probably use. But yeah, Python and Gogeta, you know, they're overall solid unit. At high stars, they are decently tanky. As like I mentioned, they have a little bit of mini support. They're constantly drawing green cards, and you got two other units that benefit from, you know, green cards for them to pretty much keep changing in between their tags. And yeah, so that's what I think on them. I'm trying not to make the video any longer than it needs to be. Just trying to get some of these explanations pretty quick. But besides that, you know, we do have some purples in the meta, obviously. But that's the reason why I'm saying, you know, their main teams are going to be Saiyans or Fusion Warriors, because you have a yellow pretty much to cover them. So when you look at the number 10 spot, this one was actually pretty tricky. Really tricky for me. But I'm actually going to give it to Goku and Bardock. I know a lot of people are going to say, you know, what about Beast Gohan, right? Why is he not in the top 10? We're going to talk about that in a minute, but just Goku and Bardock, I've been saying this for the past, let's say, couple tier lists. They're indestructible, just like Frieza, where they have a second life, which is not endurance. So that's basically you know, that's the second life, guaranteed. You're not going to die. They have that going for them, and then their main core teams, you have pretty much Saiyans, you have what else, Sunfam, you know, because Sunfam value has went up. Saiyans has always had a variety of different teams you could put together since there's so many of them in the meta, right? And then when you look at them just overall, you know, you put them on a solid Sunfam team, especially, and then the thing that they're blue and green. So, you know, you got them blue. So say you run to Super 17, you can cover that. Green, you run to Vegito, you can cover Vegito. And even then, you can run them alongside these two because they both buff Saiyans. And there's also different other options you can run along with them. I've seen people run, like I said, UI and Goku and Bardock on Saiyans. And you put, let's say, UI in the leader slot. That is doable, you know? So I feel like it's something where they're still a solid unit. In the meta, they might not be as, what's the word for that, as oppressive as they were when they first came out. But I believe what on Goku, on the Bardock side, he's stacking what, sustained damage cut? Well, I think that's on Goku's side. It's on one of the sides, right? But stacking that is also very valuable because it's literally what makes you hit really hard, especially when it comes to, let's say, like blue cards, or just like ultimates in general. But besides that, you know, that's where I'm going to place them. When we look at, like, let's say, like the honorable mentions, these are the top 5 I'm going to leave there. Now, if you had to put them in like a certain order, I probably would do something like this. Yeah, so I'll probably do something like this. Probably switch this Broly right there. Because all these units, you know, like I mentioned, I'm not going to give an explanation for every single one of them, but they're in the honorable mention because they're still usable. You can still put them on certain teams and all that good stuff, but their teams are limited. That's the issue. Like I said, like Beast Gohan, his teams are very limited. He only has hybrids and solids from the movies, and a lot of people are going to say, yeah, you can put them on them teams, but when you put them on hybrids, you know, he's not really that number 1 option anymore. You know, you have Ultra Gohan for that. And even then, if you don't have Ultra Gohan, then yeah, he'll be your number 1 option. But most of the time, he's going to be your second option. And then you also got solids for the movies where he's not going to be the number 1 option. I'm going to tell you that right now because you have so many different other options. You have Gogeta, you have this guy. You can even put Python. You know, Python is even a little bit more valuable since he's a revolver unit and all the good stuff. Now, when it comes to individual wise, then yeah, I would probably place him probably above Nappa and Vegeta. So he'll definitely be on the top 10 if it was like the individual, let's say like value or individual skill kit wise. Yeah, he'd be on that list for sure. But besides that, this is probably what I'm gonna have the top 10. You know, and then these will be the honorable mentions right here. You know, all these units are still usable on certain teams. Vegito, same case with him. His only good team right now is Fusion Warriors. You know, unless we get something God Key buffed related in the future, I don't see that changing anytime soon. This Broly is actually pretty good. I'm not too sure about him, but he's definitely good. You know, I feel like, you know, only a couple teams you can put him on. Same thing with Broly's new Zenkai. It's actually surprised me. His is actually pretty good. There was someone else I was going to put on here, probably Fiku, but I just wanted to keep it at like the latest top 15 units instead of it being an uneven number, you know. But he's still surprising if you put him on Sand Sagas. But besides that, it's gonna be pretty much this tier list and all the good stuff. Let me know what you guys think on it. I think it's a pretty solid tier list. Let me know what would be like the top 3 units, because this is what I'm thinking the top 3 could be. It's interchangeable. You could switch, let's say, these 2 out if you wanted to, but this is where I'm going to place these guys at. But as always, everyone have a blessed day. It's your boy JB. I'm out.